私も地元民と言っても実際にぐらいです。もう友達できたの？うん。ぶったさんのこっち見ない。
This promethazine got me leaning like a cholo in the club. I'm 20 deep. I don't be riding solo. Pull some bad bitches, they vanilla and cocoa. They wanna take some photos when we kick it out in Soho. Chicks are showing tits and popping pussy for my promo. Told them like juvenile, baby, move it for me slow-mo. Then I'm right back to the block, cause I keep getting moto. I be flipping, not shrinking. I don't give a fuck about no-ho. This nigga name ain't D-Lo, but pimpin' these bitches and stacking this bread forever be my stilo. This is B-Eazy, that dude in the trap making pass smooth. If I ever go broke, then I'm about to pull a jack move. Since a nigga healthy, I don't even gotta worry. With my bitch from Fiji, eating tandoori and chicken curry. That ism is really in me. My pimp game international. I design my own clothes, so I be always looking fashionable. Here's a couple facts about me that y'all didn't know. Some of y'all be getting bread, but I be getting bigger, dawg. I got bigger guns and a whole lot of bad.
And we are activated. We getting right into it. You know what I mean? Some people, they wait a little bit, but we gonna get right into it. I'm reacting to a video from Ricardo Ignacio. This is probably the only dude that I know in the Latino community who is Mexican descent specifically. You know, he had these discussions where they talk about the nuances, the anti-blackness, the cultural racism, and let's just get into it.
What are you actually? I'm sorry. What's your name?
I'm American. I'm an American Dominican woman.
You're Dominican American?
I was born in America and I follow I have Dominican ancestry. I mean, and European Afro, right. But I'm an American woman.
So we see Taylor Swift. What is she?
She's an American. Yeah.
All right. Okay. That's crazy. You want to know what's crazy about that is if anybody sees somebody like you, Queen, or Charlie, or Ricardo, or myself, we'd be you're Dominican American.
Big Rigga in the building.
Ricardo, you'd be Mexican American. I'd be Mexican American. You know what Taylor Swift would be? American. And you want to know what's crazy? They don't belong on this continent, but they're just American. But because of the colors of our skin, we're something else and then American. And it's crazy that it's normalized that to be American, you have to be white. But white never existed on the American continent.
Stop.
Until it was colonized. You know, if you don't have to agree with it, that's okay.
Wait, no.
Maybe one day you'll see it.
Listen.
You'll see it, and that's okay. But it's crazy that it's normalized. To be American, you have to be white. White never existed in the Americas.
This is the problem.
No. The problem is that you don't understand that. You're the problem. And it's okay.
No, you are.
It's okay.
Because you're living with
Hold on. She's saying he's the problem, but not really stating what the problem is. And I get it. I paused it. She's about to go into this incoherent tirade. I don't even know what she's about to say, but I can just look from her lazy eye that it ain't gonna be good. So they're trying to decipher, okay, does she know the difference between race, ethnicity, and nationality? So she's saying that she's American, but those Mayflower Americans, the Ellis Islander immigrant Americans, the people who consider themselves WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, they don't consider her white, even though she is a descendant of European, i.e. Caucasian white people, but they don't consider her white, but she considers herself white. And this is the part of the colonial brainwashing, which racism, colonialism is just, there's the brainchild and offshoots of them, which is the colorism. But it all stems from her mind being colonized. So she really believes and thinks that she's a lily white woman. Maybe she is, but the actual lily whites, they don't see her like that. Let's commence.
Boogeyman of white supremacy that is like, we may have to watch out for them.
Tell me where.
And there you go. So once again, this is a white Dominican Latina lady. So and this is why people are trying to delineate and disaggregate data, because many people, Latino, not a race, Hispanic, not a race. You can be black and Latino, you can be Asian and Latino, you can be white and Latino. However, on the 2030 census, they're going to combine Latino and Hispanic into a race. So people are really going to have to stand on their ethnicity. And it shows you even more how much of a race is a social construct, because it never was a race, but now it suddenly will be a race starting 2030. So, okay, cool. People like Cardi B, she's Afro-Latina. When someone says they're Afro and then it has Latina or Latino after, what they're really saying is that they're Hispanic, a darker Hispanic. That's all they're trying to say. But they try to jump in and out and say, one day I'm Latina, and then on Friday and Saturday, I'm black. I'm just as black as you, my nigga. And then the other days, I'm mixed. You can't put me in a box. I'm biracial. And then when you call them, all right, you know what? You're not black. You're biracial. You can't gatekeep blackness. You can't tell me I'm not black, but you don't even consider yourself black. You consider yourself Hispanic. But let's commence. But once again, she talking about the white supremacist boogeyman and all of this other stuff. The reason why her family had to flee from the Dominican Republic was because of U.S. imperialism and white supremacy. Otherwise, why is she not in the DR? But yeah, so anytime you see these people, these white Latinos, they always want to try to say, oh, well, white supremacy doesn't exist. They think that them having this proximity to whiteness and them being white adjacent and fighting for whiteness, that they're going to be accepted. But no, they just see you as something that rhymes with setback. And even if you're not Mexican, and even if you didn't come swimming across the Rio Grande, they still see you that way. But let me rewind it a little bit back and let's commence.
It's okay. It's okay.
Because you're living with this boogeyman of white supremacy that is like,
so
we may have to watch out for them.
Tell me where the lie is, Queen. I have to watch out for them. I'm married to one. What are you talking about?
So wait. What are you talking about? So wait. Oh, so you're one of those. You're one of those.
I'm one of those. What is one of those?
Yeah, you're one of those who thinks the white man, the white man is the issue, but you sleep with them.
Well, hold on. This is hilarious, actually.
So here she goes again. You're one of those. You're saying what? First of all, he didn't say the white man. He was talking about white supremacy. And yes, the white supremacist apparatus is led by white men, but white supremacy is a religion. It's just a system and an ideology, right? So there's not one driving force. It's a collective of people maintaining it. And even the people that are resisting to it, they still ultimately have to adhere to it because it's the governing body. It's the, basically the dominant force. So her over here acting like, oh, because he brings up white supremacy, he can't have a white wife or a white girlfriend. Many people do all the time. Look at Maya Angelou, right? She had many encounters with non-black people, but she stood on business for black people. And you can look at many others in history. So this is not a thing to like advocate and make this a swirler, divester, interracial dating space. But if somebody wants to go out and get with a white person, fine. Just because you got with a white person and your wife is white and you produce some mixed biracial kids doesn't mean that white supremacy suddenly just disappeared. Just because you got you some good snow cooch doesn't mean that white supremacy just disappeared. It's just idiotic to even suggest that. Let's commence.
Is that not the truth? Isn't that what you just said? Sleep with them.
Well, hold on. This is hilarious, actually.
Is that not the truth? Isn't that what you just said?
No.
You're married to one?
Hell no. This
not naive to
hold
reality.
on. Stop the pressure. Stop the
not
pressure. This can't be who the hell I think it is. Travion? None other than the Travion. This is one of them guys. Shout out to Travion. Shout out to the 206 in the mix. Shout out to the big C, the little C. Shout out to the big T. Travion, man, this dude is one of the realest and the illest. So salute to the Brody. And we got none other than John Sinatra in the building. And Big Rig Slaps. Oh no. Are they just popping up? Peach cobbler. I feel like having some peach cobbler, with some vanilla ice cream on top. So salute to Peach Cobbler. I appreciate y'all. I really do. And yeah, if any of y'all want to come up and shop game, let me know. But let's commence.
I'm naive to the reality. So what made your wife special?
Who said she was special?
Okay, so then you're with somebody you don't.
I never said she was special.
You're with somebody you hate.
Who said I hated him?
I mean, what are you saying? What are you saying? What are you saying? I'm enlightened too.
Here, let's. I think.
What makes you enlightened and me not enlightened?
Let me ask you a question.
And
Please
why
tell me
is
the
she so
difference.
mad?
Before,
and this is to all the brothers out there that love to swirl. And like John said, shout out to the chat. Everyone that's in the chat right now, and everyone that will be watching it on the replay gang. And she's over here railing against this dude, saying, "Oh, you sleep white, so you can't call out white supremacy." And hold on, let me play a little bit more, and I'll get into it.
The Mayflower arrived. Was there a
saying? I'm enlightened too.
Here, let's.
Okay, I lost my train of thought. Now I remember what I was gonna say. Why is she so angry? And look at this chick with this big baby girl got a big forehead, but that's a 5 head, possibly a 6 head. But why is she so angry? And see, if this was a black chick up there, it would be like, see, these black chicks are unruly. They got these stank attitudes, and that's why I need to go over the fence. But here you got this Dominican woman who says that she's white. Look at her funky little attitude. And Cass will be like, yeah, she's spicy. I need me a spicy Latina. Look, I love spicy food too, but no. This chick is out of control. But yeah, I be seeing cats. They be biased with the attitude. If it's a black girl with an attitude, no, I can't do that. If it's a Latina with an attitude, oh yeah, she's spicy. Just say that you feel me? You like Goya powder over Lowry's. Just say that, bruh. It's okay. It's okay. Just say that you like El Pollo Loco over Popeyes. It's okay, but don't start dissing Popeyes because you like El Pollo Loco. That's all we saying, bruh. That's all we saying. And like Big Rick says, the forehead is a little bit large, just a tad bit. But Peach Cobbler said big foreheads matter. Chill on up. Now, Peach, your forehead or your 5 head, respectfully, I ain't getting on you. So Peach, your your forehead is good. You got a fine head. Fine 5 head, so you good, Peach. You don't even gotta worry. And John says, no, not yet. I got a bad toothache. He might be driving to the hospital in a bit. Yeah, and if y'all got any remedies, where's Vibrant at? Vibrant got all the home remedies and stuff. If y'all got any remedies to help with an ailing toothache, drop it in the chat for the bro John. Because I remember I had one before. It was so bad, bro. I couldn't even sleep. I had to go to the ER. So I know them toothaches can get ugly. And we got my boy from Louisiana in the building. Whoa, they shout out. The block is hot. The 504 Braxton. And he said, y'all on her forehead. John, don't let me find out that John got a little sweet spot for the 5 head. We over here clowning her, and John over here coming with the cape. Superman Natra or what? NWA, of course. I'm that dude, but I'm also a nigga with attitude. Travion, my nigga. See, once I see somebody using the word tether, I know that they in tuned with the streets. I know that they are B1. That means black first. I know that they are in tune with the grassroots. Now, when we say B1, that don't mean black only, right? But it means black first. That means we're putting our issues to the forefront primarily, just like every other group do. It just only sounds controversial when we say it. But yes, tethers are tethering. And a form of tethering is Carmelo Anthony. Now, I haven't seen Carmelo Anthony do anything specifically to undermine, but so I can't outright call him a tether. But he did engage in tethering. And here's the example. He just got his Hall of Fame speech. Look, and me and Carmelo Anthony got the same birthday. It's on May 29th. Salute to the Geminis. So Carmelo Anthony, a prestigious, phenomenal athlete. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Did y'all know that Carmelo Anthony was Puerto Rican and Hispanic? I didn't know that. I literally had no idea. Some people were like, man, y'all didn't know that. No, I didn't know that because he was never flying those flags. He may have mentioned it here and there, but he didn't make it a core part of his identity. All of his stuff was, that he learned from FBA, Foundational Black American, formerly known as African American, not Caribbean American, not Nigerian American. We talking about foundational Black American freedmen. His style, his swag, his slang, all of that came from that. Just look at how Puerto Ricans in Puerto Rico treat each other. Most Puerto Ricans consider themselves white, just like this chick right here with the 5 head. She's Dominican, but she considers herself white. So even on the island of Puerto Rico, there's colorism. He noted the only reason why he's remotely accepted is because he's a superstar mega millionaire. But if he was just Carmelo Anthony, some regular dude from Rucker Park that never made it to the league, nobody would care. He would be just another nigga, just another negrito to them. So he goes up there. So mind you, his mama is black. His mama is allegedly from the soil, foundational Black American freedman, and his daddy is Puerto Rican. And apparently he didn't have the greatest relationship with his dad. He didn't really know his dad like that. He was raised by his mom, and he was raised by the streets, the community of Black people. So then when he gets to the highest point of his life and they want to give the most prestigious award, he don't even mention the word black. He don't mention anything about his mama, blackness, or anything. But guess who he did mention? His dad, who wasn't there. Puerto Rico, who ain't did shit for him. Puerto Ricans don't even claim him. So they wasn't claiming him the whole time. Then he wins an award and like, yeah, he's Puerto Rican. That's what tethering is. Same thing, Nicki Minaj. She's blackety black. She wins an award. This is for Trinidad. Cardi B, who definitely ain't black, but a lot of people gave her a pass. She's blackety black. She gets an award and gets on the stand in front of a judge and says, I'm not black, I'm Afro-Caribbean. How is that anything different from, I know black, Poppy, Dominican. I'm not black, I'm Nigerian. I'm not black, I'm Haitian. I'm not black, I'm Congolese. So this has been going on for decades. It's just now we doing lineage checks. We always been doing checks for if somebody is from a different block. Hey, bro, what hood you from? That's part of our culture. Hey, bro, if you go to a high school and you in Oakland and Skyline, hey, bro, what school you from? You don't go to this school. So now it's just evolved. Bro, what's your background? Where's your family from? Because this is the thing. It doesn't mean that we're better, but what that means is that you don't speak for our lineage. A Korean person can't speak for a Japanese person's lineage, but they're both Asian. A Filipino person cannot speak for a Thai person's lineage. They're both Asian. A Mexican can't speak for a Honduran's lineage. So the same thing, if you're Caribbean, if you're from Jamaica, you speak for Jamaican lineage, and that's fine. It's a beautiful, rich culture. It's just you don't speak for my foundational Black American lineage. Too many times we've done this flat blackness. We all black, but yeah, we're all black, but we have different ethnic differences, culture, and customs, and that's okay. We need to delineate. We need to disaggregate so we can understand who is doing what and who's not doing what. I didn't grow up eating plantains. I didn't grow up eating jerk chicken. I didn't grow up eating a goosey soup. I didn't grow up eating naan and curry. Nothing against those foods. They come from a very distinct and rich culture. To try to lump them all up under this generic banner of African, like we're all the same, is idiotic, and it's very disrespectful. It's a form of cultural and ethnic erasure. And too many times we went along with it because we didn't know how sinister and diabolical it is. But those days is over. But let's see what the chat is talking about. But shout out to I gotta get caught up. Hold on. But yeah, shout out to Travion. You got me excited, bro. But she said, that's what you said when you saw my pic, forehead a little large. I can't on your pic, it looked like is that a dog? Is that a dog or a cat? It looked like a little Yorkie. Big Rigs, shout out to the 5 head. Big 5 head slaps. The Hamite buns. And then, yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna drop the number. Yeah. So yeah, salute to the chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this play, and we'll get back into it.
I think
what makes you enlightened and me not enlightened?
Let me ask you a question.
Please tell me the difference.
Before the Mayflower arrived, was there any white people in the Americas?
Listen to me.
It's a question. Can you answer that question?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Yes, there is. There is a wait. Because
go ahead. You're not gonna get your question answered.
The difference between
damn, this chick is annoying, and I'm trying not to call her the B word. I'm trying to be respectful, but man, I'm about to call her a witch with a B, because she's inherently that. It's just her behavior is that. She's already off on a bad foot. She's arguing with other Latinos who saying, yeah, there is white supremacy, and she's trying to crash out for whiteness, even though the whites don't even consider her white. But John Sinatra says everybody with cornrows saying they black now. It's like, yeah, bruh. And that's what tethering is. You get a couple of cornrows and you get a couple Iverson braids, and now suddenly you black. No, many of these people don't identify as black. So that's why they'll start saying, I grew up around blacks. I grew up around a lot of Latinos too. But I ain't saying, what up, fool? Even though they got that from us. It was fool, not fool. What up, fool? You know what I mean? But we don't go around saying, oh man, what is the Latino saying? Let's try to tether on to their lineage, or let's try to cosplay them. We're not doing that, man. But with us, like the late great Paul Mooney said, everybody wants to be a nigga, but nobody wants to be a nigga. See, they want to take the aesthetics, the swag, the sauce, the prominence, the notoriety of being a nigga. They even want to dabble into the toxicity of being a nigga, because they can wear it like a coat that they can just discard and say, hey, I'm not really a nigga. You're wearing a nigga coat around niggas because, hey, man, I grew up around niggas. And then you go to your quinceañera, you go to your construction job, and it ain't no niggas around. But let's commence.
Between you and I, the difference between you and I. All right, she's not gonna let me talk.
Was there white people?
Continue talking, because you're not gonna let me respond or talk.
You haven't answered. You want to continue.
What I'm saying to you is, listen to me. No, I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm not saying that. You're very argumentative for no reason.
That's the pot calling the kettle black.
You're very argumentative for no reason. I called you out on your hypocrisy, and now you're trying to ask me questions.
I answered your question. And then
I don't understand.
Yeah, and we do have me and Carmelo Anthony have birthdays on the same day, May 29th. And it's not an issue. I'm a humanitarian, so I love everybody. So some of my closest friends is Latino, and this ain't the I have a black friend type narrative. My whole issue is the tethering. Come in the door. If you Latino, come in the door, Latino. If you Asian, come in the door, Asian. So then we can truly appreciate your identity, your culture, and you can lean into what you stand for. And I can approach you differently. I can talk to you differently. My questions is differently because I'm not Asian. I'm not Latino. So you can enlighten me about certain aspects of that culture, because I'm just a spectator. But then when you, one day you're black, the other day you're Latino, another day you're biracial, because these are all different boxes. We're going by the U.S. Census, how you identify. Yes, he can identify as black, but is that because there's a black box to check? But did he check that box, or did he check Latino? Because if he checked Latino, then that's what he is. And if he checked black, then why are you trying to lean into you being Latino? So you see how it gets all convoluted and confusing. There's also a box that says 2 or more races. There's nothing wrong with being biracial. They're saying people that are mixed and biracial is the fastest growing ethnic and racial group, but most biracial people don't identify as mixed. They identify as black. People will have one drop and then they'll say, because I'm black, that's why I'm saying nigga. And what is it with mixed people and non-black people? If you grow up around black people, then you like, because I grew up around black people, I'm forced to say nigga. There's no gun to your head forcing you to say that. And if you have a one drop, which is the most racist colonial thing, but many people adhere to it. You have one drop of Negro blood, suddenly you black, and the first thing that you want to do is you don't want to advocate for reparations, right? You don't want to advocate for an anti-black hate crime bill. You don't want to advocate for specific tangibles for the black community. The first thing that you want to do is say nigga. Does that even make any sense? Like, what is just the obsession? Look, we get it. We made it cool. You hear it, but we made it cool amongst ourselves. And yes, it went national and global and shit. But now everybody, their sole connection to the black community is getting a fucking N-word pass. It's quite sinister and really pathetic. And we just tired of this shit, bro. You get close. Oh, I grew up around black people, so I want to say nigga. But they never say I grew up around black people. And that's why I started this black and brown construction company. I grew up around black people, and that's why I hire a bunch of blacks. You grew up around blacks, but you don't hire blacks. You grew up around blacks, and then you move to a neighborhood where there's no blacks. So their only claim to fame with blacks is saying nigga and hip hop and tethering onto the culture and trying to say, hey, no, that's not your culture. It's American culture. So we're just tired of it, bruh, from everybody. And it don't matter if you are a darker melanated face as well. But let's commence and I'll get back into the comments.
Question is
the difference between you and I. All right, she's not gonna let me talk.
There white people
Continue talking, because you're not gonna let me respond or talk.
Damn, I gotta keep pausing. And she's saying he's not gonna let me talk. You cutting him off. You cutting somebody off and saying he's not gonna let me talk while you're currently not letting anyone talk. And once again, this is a very disgusting attitude from a chick with a big forehead who's not even that cute. What would y'all rate her? 6? Because she's definitely not a 7. I'll give her a 5.2. Right? So this 5.2 chick with a 5 head is over here talking over people, saying you're not gonna let me talk. You ain't letting the men talk, and you just over talking them with this incoherent babbling. And then cats will look at her and say, she's a spicy Latina. Okay, let's commence.
I'm saying to you is, listen to me. No, I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm not saying that you're very argumentative for no reason.
That's the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, see, I'm trying to let it play, but I got to do a play-by-play. She's saying he's very argumentative, and she came up to the debate. Do people know what a debate is? It's two or more opposing sides arguing. There goes that word again, arguing your point. If you're arguing a point, that means you're making an argument. If you're making an argument, of course it's going to be argumentative. So she's coming up here to debate these dudes, arguing with them, and she's whining about him being argumentative. You can't make this stuff up. This is not a win for the spicy Latinas.
The difference between you and I. All right, she's not gonna let me talk.
There white people
continue talking, because you're not gonna let me respond or talk.
What
I'm saying to you is, listen to me. No, I'm not saying I don't like it. I'm not saying that you're very argumentative for no reason.
That's the pot calling the kettle black.
You're very argumentative for no reason. I called you out.
Hey, thanks for the facts, Travion, because I didn't even know that his dad died, and RIP to his dad. But that even proves the point, when he was honoring. And I think that you said his dad was from Puerto Rico, like he's honoring. And I'm not saying he shouldn't honor his dad. I was more or less speaking to Puerto Rico, like, which has really done nothing for him. And if they did, it's only because of the household name he is. That, the Afro Latino Puerto Ricans that live on the island of Puerto Rico are marginalized. But Carmelo would never speak to that because he's too worried about flying a flag that doesn't really represent him. He's repping that flag, but that flag don't rep him. That island don't rep him. And she says she'll be back and she about to make her some tea. What kind of tea? Black tea, green tea? Let me know. And John says Cardi B is full of shit, and that might not be all she full of, because according to Offset, I guess every time he go down, it's kind of smell like the seafood section at Safeway. So I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if it's the BBL. I don't know if she got a sweaty, slimy, fishy, funky cooch. I don't know. And this is all allegedly.
Out on your hypocrisy, and now you're trying to ask me questions.
I answered your question. And then
I don't understand what the point of your question is. My thing is this: I'm living in today. I'm not living when the Mayflower came.
I'm glad.
So when are you living? Why are you even arguing?
You've been raising your voice and being argumentative this whole time.
Because I'm a Dominican woman who talks motherfucking loud. I'm a problem.
But I'm the victim, right? I'm the victim,
Who said
but
you
now
were a victim?
Because you're a Dominican woman, it's just because
how
you're loud
making it seem.
and you overtalk
because everybody. This is how I talk.
You're loud and you overtalk.
I have some people in the comments.
The fact that you're Dominican.
I have some people in the comments that don't like me. I have some people in the comments that don't like me, and they will tell you that in every live that I'm in, I talk in this same octave. Ricardo, last time I talked to you, was I talking to you loud?
About the comments.
Ricardo, say the truth, Ricardo. Was I talking loud last time we spoke?
No, you weren't.
Oh, my bad. I was talking. Damn, man. Thank you, bro. I was cooking and I didn't even realize I was muted, man. And I said a lot of stuff. I ain't gonna repeat everything that I said, but I said, shout out to the lovely Jackie Gaines. Jackie G, what it do? You in the place to be? The lovely, exquisite, ravishing Jackie Gaines. I had said some fire stuff, but it was muted. God damn it. I can't even remember everything that I said. And he said, heavy on the whore chatter. I said it was the slore chatter. What's a slore? A slutty whore. But let's see what Miss Fivehead got to say. Shout out to Big Rig when he said with the audio, bro, you looking out, man. I just realized I was muting and I was cooking too. But we gonna keep it rocking though.
Not to me.
In the comments that don't like me, and they will tell you that in every live that I'm in, I talk in this same octave. Ricardo, last time I talked to you, was I talking to you loud?
About the comments.
Ricardo, say the truth, Ricardo. Was I talking loud last time we spoke?
No, you weren't. Not to me. Not
Oh
to me.
God. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
I said
Ricardo.
not to me.
So,
So
Not to you, but was my octave loud?
let me express something real quick. Both, please. Let me express one thing real quick. So the reason now, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Beast. The reason why he was asking you, was there any white folks in the Americas prior to them arriving when Columbus arrived? So obviously the answer is no.
No.
Okay.
Obviously.
Okay, but hold on. Let me just, I want
Clearly.
to. Okay. So what he's trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, what he's trying to say is, it's ironic how there weren't any white folks on these lands until they arrived here in the late 1400s. However, when the world, not only the land, but the world thinks of American, they think of white. Is that correct or no?
When the world thinks of America, they think of
American. American.
Oh my God! Is he gonna let me speak?
What is the image of American?
Okay, hold on. Let me bring that one right back. I closed the wrong tab. But yeah, it looks like we got some solid people in the building. But yeah, this is gonna be a good stream. I'm gonna play a different one from her because I'm tired of hearing that fake Boricua bimbo talking about nothing. She was just rambling on and on, caping for white supremacy, saying that it's a hoax, it doesn't exist, and all this other type of stuff. But see, these are the type of people that say we need to build a black and brown coalition. How the hell am I build a brown coalition with someone who identifies as white? Wouldn't that be a black and white coalition? But instead, it's called a brown coalition. How? This person ain't even brown. So people got to really question that. And what black and if we're building a black and brown coalition, where are the black and brown businesses? Where's the black and brown construction company? Right? Where's the black and brown taqueria? We like tacos. We can cook tacos too. We like burritos. We can make them too. You know what I mean? Some people prefer a black taco. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, where are those businesses? So it's once again, it's always, hey, I grew up around the blacks, and that's why I'm saying nigga. But you don't grow up around the blacks and want to start a business with them. You just want to say nigga. And then once you gentrify the area and it ain't no blacks there, now it's just a bunch of Latinos calling each other nigga. But it ain't no niggas around. So, hey, if y'all so obsessed with nigga, then and you know, y'all want the pass, what pass are you giving us? Right? People always talk about that pass. Oh, I got the N-word pass. Okay, cool. You got the N-word pass. Do I got the wetback pass? Do I got the beaner pass? Oh, no, you can't say that. Why not? I gave you the N-word pass. Why I can't call you a wetback? Respectfully. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in an endearing way, right? Why I can't call, okay, I won't call you a wetback. I'll call you a wetback nigga. See, I added nigga. It's different. I'll call you a wetbacker. I added an A. It's different, right? Where's my pass? Since we're black and brown, I gave you the black pass to say nigga. What do I get from the brown pass? All they give you is they ass to kiss. So just stop me when I'm lying. But don't trip. I'm gonna pull up another video, but as I'm waiting, let me hit y'all with this. Time for a like intermission. We kindly request that you show love to the channel's creator and platform by leaving a like, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest content. Liking posts is completely free and helps the algorithm boost our reach. We want to grow the community larger and larger. So thank you all who take the time to support us. It does mean the world to us and doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you so much. And per my analytics, I think it's about like 48% of y'all that's watching the videos but not subscribed. So hopefully y'all do subscribe. You know, I'm gonna keep hitting y'all with this great content, and we gonna get right into it because y'all can be anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with me, so let's do it. So this is another video from this brother, Ricardo Ignacio. Salute to him. Sub to his channel. He's probably one of the only Latinos, air quote, Mexican men that is talking about you know, the cultural racism in his community, the anti-blackness, but he doesn't just do it to just point the finger. He has constructive and productive conversations. This one is titled Mexican Gangs, but it also will apply to, air quote, black gangs or any gangs in general. So let's just get right into it.
Gang member, man. And I'm going to tell you something that put things in perspective for me, that caused me to question things. Being in the proximity that I am, all you deal with is mostly other Mexicans, Chicanos, and that's who you beef with. Your gangs are built on hating yourself, your own kind, but you don't see it that way. You don't see it that way as a kid. What caused me, or what triggered me to start seeing it that way, is that one day my cousin, who was from an uppity white neighborhood, who I hardly ever saw, but once in a blue moon I saw him.
Stop the damn press. Von Bryant, the OG, what it do? In the building. Greetings, peace, joy, grace, and abundance. Salute to Von Bryant, one of the illest and the realest. Let's commence.
Because he had to come way over here to my neighborhood. So one day he came over. I said, hey, let's go to my side of town. We hopped in my car, went over there. We went to the movies. This is a Gringolandia, you know what I mean? We're walking out the theaters. I'm the only Mexican-looking guy. My cousin is un güerito. So he could pass as a white man over there, a white boy, as long as he don't open his mouth. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So as we're walking out, I'm hanging out with a bunch of his friends. We're walking out in a car's driving by. It's full of gringos. And they slow down. One of them sticks their head out and says, Mexican killer, F you wet backs. Get your asses back to Mexico. When he said that, this is what popped in my head, man. It was a revelation. I said, so wait a minute, let me get this straight. Now, it wasn't instantly. My instant reaction was trying to fight them. Right. But when I thought about things, I thought, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me, Ricardo, that we as brown people, our gangs are built on hatred for ourselves towards each other. White folks' gangs are built hatred for us. So we lose from every.
Now he's talking about his people, his brown people, but like he said, and this is why when people talk about black on black crime, notice they only talk about that with us. He's talking about hatred and them killing each other. But guess what term he's not using? He's not saying brown on brown crime. You won't find videos of Hispanic, Latino, Mexicans talking about brown on brown crime. You will find a bunch of goofy black people talking about black on black crime. Crime is just crime. It doesn't have a color. Crime can be committed by black people, Asians, and every other race, but it's not black crime. It's just crime. People understand that when you're talking to other groups. That's why you don't hear people talking about white on white crime. Even right now, Ukrainians are white. Russians are white. They're in a war right now, slaughtering people to the tunes of hundreds of thousands. There's not hundreds of thousands of people dying in Chicago, Oakland, Seattle, Baltimore, St. Louis. So what are we really talking about? Like, a lot of it, the whole crime narrative is overblown. But essentially what he's saying is these gangs are structured to go against each other. So you actually destabilize your community. With the origins of them was to protect the community, but then the guns, the drugs, them importing people, ops from different countries, different regions, to purposely destabilize and disenfranchise neighborhoods. But it's your own people doing it to you. Most white people were killed by white people. Most black people killed by black people. Most Mexicans, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, whatever you want to say, killed by their own people, because it's about proximity. If you live in a neighborhood full of blacks, nobody is going to drive 10 miles, 20 miles to go to a white neighborhood and commit crime and come back, because they know if you get seen out there, one of these Karens or barbecue Beckys is going to call the cops and you're going to be up out of there. You know what I mean? And if they do go over there to commit crime, is they're not committing crime because they're white. They're committing the crime because who typically on average has more money, white people or black people? If I'm robbing somebody and my objective is to get money, wealth, jewels, or some prized possession, the likelihood is that you're going to get more out of a white person. That's just how it is. But then you do that and it's like, oh, they hate white people. No, this person is a poor, probably low IQ, thuggish person. They are just trying to survive. You know what I mean? They've been shunned by society. Society has thrown them to the wolves. So they turn to this life. But not only that, it ain't black people who coined the term crime pays. So white people talk about crime pays. And then when they see black people trying to get paid off crime, they say, this is just your culture of criminality and degeneracy. It's like they just following what y'all did. It's just the only difference is you had privilege and they were targeted and got persecuted. Yeah, they weren't innocent angels, but neither was you. There's studies that show for the same crime, on average, white people get 20% less crime. All that is privilege and white supremacy. These are not my numbers. Y'all can look this stuff up. So people got to kind of get with the program and realize that, yes, there are systemic barriers and hurdles. They've been put there to displace you. They've been put there to disenfranchise you. So it's up to us to come together as a collective, see the play, beat the play, because they just gonna keep putting the hurdles and raising the hurdles, but we just gonna keep finding ways to go around them, over them, or just flat out through them. So let's get back into the video.
Angle. Meanwhile, we're creating gangs that, a minute. So you mean to tell me, Ricardo, that we as brown people, our gangs are built on hatred for ourselves towards each other. White folks' gangs are built hatred for us. So we lose from every angle. Meanwhile, we're creating gangs that are about hating ourselves and each other.
And we got Fire in the building, the lovely Fire, Phoenix Fire, coming straight from the Oregon. So she said, well said, B-Eazy, that dude. Good evening to all. Too tired to chat, but wanted to send some love, B, and everybody. So she's sending love to the chat, sending love to me, sending love your way as well to the West Coast, and shout out the whole state of Oregon. Fire, what it do?
Our own people, hatred for us. So we lose from every angle. Meanwhile, we're creating gangs that are about hating ourselves and each other. Our own people, they're creating gangs that hate us and love themselves and protect themselves. I realized this at that moment, and I said, holy.
And that's really a mic drop moment right there. Think about all of the white supremacist gangs that people try to act like they don't exist. They got Proud Boys and Patriot Front and Oath Keepers. All of these are white supremacist, white nationalist, paramilitary groups, organizations, but their whole thing is about preserving whiteness. You know, as nebulous as that means, all they have to say is, we're white, we want to protect whiteness, and that's enough to get them on code. On the flip side, when we got our gangs, and I'm not talking about the origins of these gangs started so that we can protect the neighborhood against outside infiltrators and white supremacists, etc. Now it turned into, I'm gonna pull up on the ops. Oh, this nigga's from O Block, so I'm a slide. This nigga's from Logan Block. This nigga's from the Murder Dub, so I'm a slide up on him. Okay, cool. You willing to die for this block, right? Do you own any property on that block? All of this money that you claim that you making from pushing this big weight and bricks, why didn't y'all put none of that money together and buy a shop so you don't got to keep buying from the agents is telling you, hurry up and buy. So you over there saying, oh man, fuck them, they saying hurry up and buy, but you still in there, hurry up and buy. Then you over here killing niggas on your block which is not really your block because someone else owns it. Now you killed so many niggas that you didn't lower the property value. So now they come in eminent domain it and buy your neighborhood for pennies on the dollar. And it's most likely ain't going to be somebody that's black. And if they are black, they ain't going to be FBA. And we already know that the likelihood of that happening is slim to none. So it's going to be some foreign investment group or BlackRock or State Street and come and buy your neighborhood. So now old block is no block. It's tore down. That block that you was claiming, that block that you got tatted on your back is not there anymore. Now it's a bunch of white women and spandex running their little Yorkies. It's white women pushing their stroller. That's what old block is now. That's what your neighborhood is going to turn to because you sliding on all the ops. But why do all your ops have to are black? They'll say, fuck the police. No, nigga, because if somebody come up and do a drive-by on your daughter, who is the first person you going to call? Don't say, man, I'm going to call my niggas. No, the first person you're going to call is the police. Those same police that you just said, oh, fuck them. Nah, y'all should be trying to get more niggas from the hood to be police officers. So you at least got some cool police officers. That's what the Hispanics and the Jewish people do. You think Jewish people don't do crimes? The thing is, they got Jewish police overseeing them. So you don't even never know about their crimes because they keep their shit in house. But with us, we want to hop on the internet to try to say, oh, here, let me talk about black on black crime. Show me one video of Jewish people talking about Jewish on Jewish crime. And there's there was just a convicted pedo that fled to Israel and they protected him and saying how much of a good person he is. We don't do that shit at all. But because of this goofy narratives and people being brainwashed and self-hate themselves, you got a bunch of people really crying and talking about black on black crime and always ask them, hey, what city do you live in? And then look at the murder rate in a city. People be living in cities that got 5 murders in the entire year talking about black on black crime. Bro, there's no crime happening in your city at all. People be in Wyoming, Montana, talking about Chicago. Have you ever been? You never been to Chicago, don't want to go to Chicago. And when you did go to Chicago, you had a great time. So what the hell are we talking about acting like it's just this war zone that you can't even set foot in? Like, come on, bro. Like, we got to stop with these goofy narratives. But let's commence.
Shit. Hatred for ourselves towards each other. White folks gangs are built hatred for us. So we lose from every angle. Meanwhile, we're creating gangs that are about hating ourselves and each other, our own people. They're creating gangs that hate us and love themselves and protect themselves. I realized this at that moment, and I said, holy shit, it fucked with me. You know what fucked with me even more? That we had a member of the gang who was literally a white boy, a complete white boy. He was not a Chicano, a white boy. And he joined our gang, a gang that's built to hate Mexicans. Okay. So you see, here we have this white boy who joined a Mexican gang that's built on hating other Mexicans. A white man would never cause us to join their white gang that is built to hate white folks. You will never see that. The fact that we, as quote unquote Mexicans, Chicanos, are building gangs that are about hating each other, and we allow white folks to come in to help us wipe out other. Oh,
let me on what you just said, man, because that hits me.
Checkmate. That's the checkmate right there. And man, hold on, let me get to the chat because y'all in the chat cooking. I can't even keep up with y'all. Shout out to Travion. And Fire, you still in here? I thought you was going to sleep, Fire. And Jackie still kicking it like Escape. Jackie Chan in it. John Sinatra cooking. I thought you was coming up, bro, but I forgot you injured right now. So salute to you. And he says we got same shit, but ain't doing the right shit with it. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's like I said, a lot of that is because, for one, due to the tethers before we were doing flat blackness. So it was a lot of tethers and ops in the mix. Then there's also a lot of homegrown sambos as well. It's not just all tethers, you know. And then there's that rugged individualism. And then there's also just people that have a lot of self-hatred. So they don't really value our contributions enough until it's gone, right? That's why they say you don't know what you got until it's gone. So that's why now when we're delineating and saying, you know what, you're not black or you're not like us, now people are valuing, damn, like we really were eating off the FBA and we really did get a bunch of culture from y'all. And now, you know, people are, you know, starting to try to, hey, big head, their way back into these lineage discussions. But it's like, you can't immigrate into a lineage, right? You can't get it adopted into a lineage. Now, we can all come together as humans, as Americans, and build something greater for society and for the future. But your lineage is your lineage. So it doesn't matter, right? If I start linking up with Asians and say, you know what, I really love anime, no matter how much I love anime, doesn't make me Asian, doesn't make me part of that lineage. So it's the same as to be said with any other thing. This is stuff is not rocket science. Everyone understands it with other groups. It's just when it comes to foundational Black American freedmen, they get a little bit confused. But Braxton says, as for the Proud Boys in particular, the leader is Puerto Rican, and he's Puerto Rican and Black. His name is Enrique Tarrio, and Proud Boys has white, Black, and Asian guys in their group. Yes, and Proud Boys is a white supremacist group, and this dude who is Enrique Tarrio, he's Puerto Rican, which he identifies as Latino, Hispanic. But when he goes up there and he's Black presenting, they're like, oh, he's just another Black guy. Even though he's mixed and biracial and he is racially half Black, he doesn't consider himself Black. He considers himself Hispanic. Even, and actually, as dark as he is, when he got arrested on his arrest record, he was listed as white. So there's a bunch of darker skinned Hispanics who actually check the box as white. Whether you can say, well, they're not white, well, that's how they identify and that's how they're legally classified. So since we're a nation of laws, we're going to go how they're legally classified. So Von Bryan says, being a Chicago native, there are plenty of beautiful places in Chicago. Chicago does not just consist of the ghetto alone. It is a metropolitan city full of those who seek success. Yeah, Chicago is a major city. Chicago has one of the largest Black populations. Chicago has some of the richest culture. Chicago has some people that really stand on business 10 toes down. Of course, there is crime, degeneracy, depravity, debauchery, and most of that happens in these podunk red states, predominantly white places. So the most correlation with crime is poverty, not culture or skin tone. Poor Blacks don't act the same way as someone of the upper echelon of society, as the boule. Boule Blacks don't act like people from the ghetto. Now, I have my own qualms with the boule. They sell the community out for individual success, but there is a distinct difference in behavior, how they talk, etc. So same thing, some hillbilly snaggletooth redneck is not going to be talking the same way as some wolf stockbroker on Wall Street. We already know that. And Jackie is rocking. Shout out to Jackie. Black folks like to fight with their hands. Other races fight with their brains. Yeah, I mean, I want to refute this, but that is true, you know, because if I say something real, see, I'll call out all of these races of people and I'll call out my people, but I'm doing it constructively because I love my people and I want to enrich us. And it's not to finger wag or to kind of belittle or demean. It's to try to wake people up. Desperate times call for desperate measure. And I'm actually very mild the way I do it. There's much more people who are more inflammatory with the way they come at us. But yeah, other people are fighting with their brains because physically, you know, we're more dominant, and realistically we are more intellectually sound when we come together, when it gets activated. So it's you know, it's just kind of like a diamond, right? A diamond is just, you know, like a big chunk of earth, right? You only get the diamond with excruciating pressure, right? Unfortunately, the only way we kind of really shine like a diamond is when the pressure is on us, when the racism get turned up, when our backs get against the wall, when unfortunately George Floyd get kneeled on his neck to death. That's when we turn up and then you see the diamond shining brightly. But it's like, we don't have to wait to a tragedy to happen for us to truly activate. And I will give that. Unfortunately, not all, but too many of us are more reactive than proactive. And with this new generation going forward, ushered in by, the millennials, the boomers, and the younger generations, it's like we got to change the paradigm and change the mentality. So now that's why we're fighting intellectually. Forget the hands, because now I can fight. I am nice with the hands, but I'm even nicer with the firearms. So I don't really have time to be fighting. I have time to defend myself, and I have time to survive. So I don't care if you 5'5" or 6'5". I'm pulling out that 4'5". So just chill. Stop at 5 or get stopped with this 4'5". For real. But let's go. He says if the link is pinned somewhere, he'll come up. Nah, it's not. But let me go ahead and drop this for the fam. But hold on. Just give me uno momento. But salute to all y'all rocking with me. And this is for the fam who like to go ham. Ozzy in the building. Yeah, you hear the bars, and that's all off the dome. All off the dome. Let's commence.
Right home, because I don't know you.
Never see that. No. The fact that we, as quote unquote Mexicans, Chicanos, are building gangs that are about hating each other, and we allow white folks to come in to help us wipe out other. Oh,
Let me on what you just said, man, because that hits me right home. Because I don't know if you know this about me or not.
Yeah, I ain't fighting, bro. And shout out to Big Rig, because this is a solid comment. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna fight because it'll never be over. I'm on mute. Well, since you're on mute, I had to come off mute to say this. Look, this is about survival, bro. And many people have jobs to go back to. People have families to go back to. Even if you're out there tussling, it's kind of like in the classroom where a kid hits you and then you hit them back. Guess who get punished? You for hitting them back. So if somebody come up to you and, they want to escalate things, and then you turn into the aggressor, when the cops pull up and they see you beating up somebody, all they see is an aggressor. They're going to shoot you, tase you. They're not going to hear whatever explanation you have. And by the time you get to explain it, maybe your jaws broke, you're down, you're screaming from the pepper spray. So if you're going to escalate things, I'm going to escalate it, and I'm going to expedite it. I'm going to expedite your expiration date, because many of y'all have all been going around talking about how thuggish you are. How you want to pull up on me, how you want to do physical harm to me. Well, guess what? I fear for my life. I am very fearful for my life and for my survival and safety. So that is why I got this firearm on me. And when I pull it up, click it back, and pop at you, it's not for no thuggery or degeneracy. It's just so I can make it home safely, right? So you guys got to keep that in mind, right? I don't care if I can beat you up in a fight. I'm not going 2 rounds with you or 12 rounds with you. I will give 12 rounds to you, but it ain't gonna be with the hands. And like Jackie said, we like to fight with our hands and brains. Nah, I like to use my hands, but I can use my hands for multiple things, right? I can use my hands to sew. I can use my hands to type. And I can use my hands to click that trigger, but only in a self-defense manner. We're not promoting any type of violence. What we're promoting is survival. And we do need to have more responsible discussions surrounding firearms. And firearms is not the only way to defend yourself. Get you some pepper spray, mace, bear spray, whatever is legal there. Get you all sorts of handheld weaponry. Get you a blade and see what the legality of how long it could be. You need to have all of the tools to be able to defend yourself, because that cell phone ain't gonna help. If somebody run up on you right now and say, man, I heard that shit you was talking on YouTube. If you try to whip out your cell phone and dial 911 and then you got to wait for it to ring, and then you got to wait for an operator, and excuse me, sir, where are you at? Yeah, I'm running right now. Yeah, I'm on in East Oakland, and some dude is chasing after me. How soon could y'all get here? Could y'all meet me at the Popeyes and hope he don't kill me? Like, come on, man, that shit sound goofy as hell, just me saying that right now. So people need to be able to defend themselves with all sorts of arms, not just firearms, but the most effective way that you're going to defend yourself is with your brain. Your mind is a weapon, right? But you need to use it accordingly. Avoid these situations, avoid these toxic people. So now I don't have to pull out nothing because I'm not putting myself in these precarious positions, right? But if I am in that position and I do need to defend myself, I'm going to do it to the fullest extent of the law. And, you know, you may not make it to see tomorrow. So just think about that.
Spent 18 and a half years in prison.
No, I didn't know that. Mexicans, Chicanos are building gangs that are about hating each other, and we allow white folks to come in to help us wipe out other. Oh,
Let me on what you just said, man, because that hits me right at home. Because I don't know if you know this about me or not. I spent 18 and a half years in prison.
No, I didn't know that.
Okay. Because I was a gang member. For 25 years, okay, I was a gang member. And what you're speaking on, there's a video that I made, a real early video when I first started doing this. And it's talking exactly about that, because there was so much division within the system. It was divided by race. Some of it was policy. Some of it was self-segregation. They housed inmates according to their race. Mexicans were housed with Mexicans, African Americans with African Americans, white dudes with white dudes. That's just the way the policy was set up at that time. Mm-hmm. Now, when we went into the day room, Mexicans sat on one side of the day room, blacks sat on the other side of the day room. That wasn't policy. That was self-segregation. Okay, so we often had conflicts where we
He's saying it wasn't policy, it was self-segregation. I mean, that's true and untrue. It was self-segregation, which is a policy, but he knows why that is, because he knows that, you know, the Latinos is anti-black. Unfortunately, I mean, the blacks is more accepting than anyone. And those Latinos, as much as he's saying they were segregated, they were united with the Woods. They were not united with the Aryans. They were segregated, but they clicked up with them. So, you know, he's not really telling the whole story, because as much as he said, oh, it was self-segregated, if the blacks was saying, oh yeah, man, let's click up with each other, let's have and speaking of this, right, they always like to talk that black and brown shit. Where would the black and brown be strongest at? In the prison, right? Because they love to lock up black and brown bodies. But instead, the browns start clicking up with the whites. They tell you black and brown. That's why I'm saying nigga, man. I'm saying nigga, fool. I'm saying nigga, essay. I'm saying nigga, vato, because of the black and brown. And then they get locked up and it's brown and white. I mean, what are we really talking about here? He talking about self-segregation. Yeah, y'all segregated because y'all be calling us mayates. If you was clicking it with the blacks would be cool with it. Yeah, some will be against it. The ones will be against it is because they know that y'all be calling us mayates and changos and all this other stuff. So this whole self-segregation thing, and like I said, we are too inviting, and sometimes this is to our detriment. We'll click up with people. If it's a dark Indian, a Hindu dude, he gonna be with the blacks. Let's be honest. And as long as he ain't on no racist shit, the blacks is gonna accept him. But the Latinos ain't gonna accept him. And if they do, he gotta get on some vile anti-black shit. He gotta prove himself. This dude knows that, and this is not breaking news or anything. Just look it up. You don't see no neighborhoods of black people going in Mexican neighborhoods spraying MK, Mexican killer. But you can find that on the flip side, firebombing black neighborhoods, using a race of white supremacist Latino sheriff gang to attack us. There's no flip side. There's no black sheriffs terrorizing Latinos. There is white Latino sheriffs terrorizing black people. So this whole black and brown shit just needs to die. And I don't ever want to hear any self-respecting black person ever say that again. If you around me and you think like that, just unsubscribe, unfollow me. And this is not nothing against Latinos. I hope one day in the future that we do have a black and brown alliance. I have to speak about things how they are now. Currently, it's not like that, and people are not trying to work towards that. So we have to just work with the cards that are dealt to us. So until these Latino organizations, these Latino artists, these Latino celebrities come together and really want to build something, until you start seeing black and brown construction jobs and then when you see these hip-hop radio shows, that's literally all Latinos, all they do is hire Latinos, until you start seeing some integration with economics, then no, just kill the black and brown talk. I'd rather you call me a mayate. I'd rather you call me a nigga, not because I want you to be using these slurs. It's just I know where we stand. But you acting like, yeah, man, we're all together, fool. And then, you go home with your anti-black family that don't want you associating with blacks, marrying blacks, or doing anything but blacks except for calling them nigga and listen to rap music. I can't rock with that, bro.
People, some of it was policy, some of it was self-segregation. They housed inmates according to their race. Mexicans were housed with Mexicans, African Americans with African Americans, white dudes with white dudes. That's just the way the policy was set up at that time. Mm-hmm. Now, when we went into the day room, Mexicans sat on one side of the day room, blacks sat on the other side of the day room. That wasn't policy. That was self-segregation. Okay, so we often had conflicts where we rioted. Mm-hmm. People went up against each other. Now, I was in 6 different racial riots, right? That was blacks against Mexicans. And when this happened, one particular time, it was a really ugly riot. 2 people died in the riot.
Notice the riots that he's talking about. He said the riots of blacks against Mexicans, and he said it like 6 or 7 times. Why didn't he mention the riots of the brown people versus the whites, the Mexicans versus the Woods, the Mexicans versus the Aryans and hillbillies? Why he ain't talking about that? Because it didn't happen. A lot of times they get the weapons from the Woods, they get the drugs from the Woods to oppress us, to subjugate us. And he's talking about, oh yeah, man, it was self-segregated. No, it wasn't really policy. Yes, your policy is anti-blackness. You already know that, bruh. The thing is, when they behind those walls, they stand on anti-blackness. But when you put a mic in front of them, they try to act like, oh, no, it was both sides. It was both sides. And that's why we're acting like that. No, this is your culture. You come from a culture of anti-blackness. We don't have a culture of being anti-Hispanic. We already talked about how we're reactive. When we respond, it's because somebody has already said or done something to us. We don't go and proactively try to oppress and disenfranchise other people. But these other groups do that to us in hopes of getting closer proximity to whiteness. But at the end of the day, once they get us out the way and then they make us a non-economic threat, then they get targeted. And you see what people are doing now with the deportations, even though he hasn't deported enough. But with the whole deportations, they're like, oh, we're being attacked. Oh, wow. Kind of like how we was talking about white supremacy and that this country is racist. And remember the Latinos for Trump. We will vote for Donald Trump. Yeah, y'all voted for this, bro. So I don't really want to hear shit. You feel me? So let's commence.
So when they separated everybody and they locked the unit down, they came and they asked everybody one by one. They pulled you out of your cell and they asked you, what can we do to fix it? What can we do to make this right? And to a man, everybody said the exact same thing. Separate us. Put Mexicans on one block and put blacks on another block. And the warden at the time said something that brought it all home to me. He said, if we was to separate Mexicans and blacks and put just Mexicans together, then it would no longer be Mexicans against blacks. It would be Mexicans against Mexicans, north side against south side. When I thought about that, I'm like, you know what? Show me the lie.
Yeah.
He said the truth, and it's an ugliness within us, that we grab onto that division, and that's something that we build on. We don't just participate in it. we build upon that, like you said, forming gangs to fight each other.
So that I do agree with when he's talking about okay, if you separate the Mexicans and just put all the Mexicans with the Mexicans, that's who they're gonna fight. It's gonna be brown on brown crime, Mexican on Mexican crime. But then if you put us all together, then now you have a group to hate. Oh, look, man, it's the blacks. We don't fuck with them. So then they unite off of their anti-blackness. But if you take the blacks out of the picture, that hatred and that toxicity is still going to be there. And that's the same thing that happens. That's why people keep talking about black on black crime. It's because of proximity. So if there were just a bunch of random people there, crimes would be happening to random people. The reason why it happens to mostly black people is in a poor, destitute area that's mainly black people around. So that's why it happens like that. But yeah. So at least he was honest with that point. So I think he covered enough with that. And John says facts. They are united against the blacks in jail. And that's what I'm trying to say. He's over here saying, oh, well, it wasn't politics. It was self-segregation. No, the politics is anti-blackness. You already know that. He said he'd been locked up for 18 years. You know what time it is, bro. We don't have like even the anti-Latino slurs, we didn't come up with them. Wetback, spick, and beaner, and all these other terms and shit. We didn't come up with that term, but they'll get mad at us, you know, more so than the people that actually came up with those terms and subjugated their people. These people will flee from Mexico, fleeing U.S. imperialism, white supremacy, and then they come over here and call us a mayate. They don't have names like that for white people because many of them are white. Mexicans is not a race. Mexican fought to be legally recognized as white. Many people like it kind of forgot this, and that's why they get confused with Latino, Hispanic. Latino, Hispanic was just a buffer group created to displace blacks, to say, okay, look, we don't have to help blacks because, oh, look, there's more Hispanics. Foundational Black Americans are the second largest ethnic group in the entire country, but this is how they kind of play the word games. So they say Hispanics are the largest ethnic group, but what they mean is Mexicans combined with Hondurans, combined with Brazilians, combined with Argentinians. They combine all of these people under the banner of Hispanics. But if you do FBA population versus Argentinian, more of us. There's even more of us than Mexicans. There's more of us than Brazilians, more of us than Puerto Ricans. But if you put all of them together under this banner of Hispanic, then they're a larger group than you guys, and that's why we have to focus on them now. So it's just a form of creating a buffer group to kind of displace us and say, hey, we don't need to worry about you. But most of those Hispanics, the last poll they did, I think was in 2021, almost 60% of Hispanics identify as racially white. Puerto Rican, not a race. Most of them on the island identify as white. Fat Joe is a Latino, always saying nigga, 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 because he grew up around blacks. He got arrested. Guess what his race said? Didn't say Latino, because that's not a race. His race said white. Most Latinos in America identify as white. They come from European ancestors. European is predominantly what? I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with bright. And we got Braxton in the building. What's up, Braxton?
Hey, what's up? What's good?
Yeah, not much, man. Just rocking out. So let me get back to the comments real quick. And Travion is right. All the immigrants is buffer groups. Yes, that's all of these groups are just buffer groups. And Von Bryan says, man, you walking heavy tonight. You must be in the witness protection program. Nah, man, I got my boy John. And I got my folks Big Rick, Slaps, Travion. You know, that's my security. But no, actually, all I got to do is pull up with Jackie. the lovely Jackie, and ain't nobody gonna harm me. Once they see Jackie, they gonna be so mesmerized and stunned by the beauty that then I'm gonna sneak a little jab in, or I might sneak a shot in. You feel me? And I ain't talking about a shot of Henny either. But salute to all the people that's rocking on the late night. Let's see. I'll probably play one more video from the Brody Ricardo Ignacio. Like I said, salute to him because he's always doing some great videos.
Like, Dominicans are black. That's what we are. But even in my own family, they hate being described as that. They say that they're not black. And there's like this huge internal hate of their own race. So me and my family get into it all the time about this.
I want to ask you something from either your opinion or your understanding. Why is it in your particular case, your family's case, why is it that they hate being identified as black?
I believe it has a lot to do with Haiti because, you know, we share the same island. To me, we're the same people. We're on the same island. We are the same. That's just a fact. My last name is Coat. C-O-A-T. That's a slave name.
Technically, we all have slave names.
Mm-hmm.
Every last one of them, even us. Martinez, Hernandez, Cortez. These are all slave names.
Yeah.
A lot of people have this misunderstanding that think that only black people in the United States have slave names, but they don't realize that slavery was all over the Americas, and slavery took place also in all of the Americas. What was done to African Americans or Black Americans was also done to the Black and brown people of Latin America.
I just found out like 3 years ago that my grandmother's grandmother is from Haiti. And the only reason we found out is because my dad is like me. My dad is more open-minded and listens to facts instead of dreaming something up. He asked his uncle, and his uncle mentioned that his grandmother had, which is my grandmother's brother, that his grandmother had pelo malo, because that's what they call our hair, bad hair, instead of like kinky or coily hair or whatever. So he asked him, he was like, hey, why did she have bad hair? And he goes, well, she was from Haiti. So he confronted my grandmother and was like, how come you never told us that, your grandmother was Haitian?
The hatred between Dominicans and Haitians needs to be studied because, like the sister is saying, they're literally on the same island of Hispaniola. One of the things is because they consider a lot of Haitians like kind of like the bastards of the Caribbean because they were mainly colonized by the French. So many of them speak French Creole versus, the other parts of Latin America colonized by Spaniards, so they speak Spanish. But the Spaniards don't consider them white. So when these Dominicans are saying, oh, I know Black Poppy, yeah, Latino is not a race, Hispanic is not a race, and you definitely ain't white because the Spaniards who colonized you, that's the reason why they was beating up on you. That's the reason why they was doing all sorts of rape and mutilation and all sorts of pedo type stuff. They was doing that because they saw you as less than, subhuman. They didn't see you as Spaniards. They didn't see you as white. But many people, especially in the Dominican Republic, have internalized that, and they really do praise their conquistadors, and many of them are grateful for being conquered, and they just absolutely despise. I had a sister from out here. She's FBA. She went to travel in the DR, and they were harassing her because they thought she was Haitian. And once they found out she was FBA, Black American Freedmen, sorry, we didn't mean to treat you like that. Obviously, they're going to treat tourists better. They're going to treat white tourists even better, but they do still treat Black tourists better than Haitians, who are literally share the same island as them. They're separated by these fake borders and this man-made arbitrary separation to just try to say, hey, y'all are not like us. And that's fine if they want their, ethnic and cultural sovereignty. But just the flat out hatred, and there's been massacres and slaughters happening all due to, them mainly trying to adopt this colonial white supremacist mindset and distance themselves from blackness. So there's a lot of skin bleaching and all sorts of toxicity on the island, and that's really not part of our culture. So we definitely want to delineate from that. We definitely want to disaggregate, not to say that we're better, we're just saying that we're different, and we need to highlight these differences to understand. You know what I mean? A jaguar and a leopard look similar, but are they the same? Well, they're both cats, and they're both agile, and they're both big cats. Yeah, a leopard is not a jaguar. It's just not. So no matter how similar they look, no matter if they can climb the tree at the same pace, that doesn't make a leopard a jaguar. So it doesn't matter if somebody was like, "Oh, dude, you look Haitian." Yeah, that doesn't make me Haitian. You know what I mean? A person that say, "Oh, look, you kind of look like this person from Sudan," which is a damn lie, but let's just say it was true. That doesn't mean that we're suddenly the same lineage. Doesn't mean that one or the other is better. It just means that we have different ethnicities, cultural boundaries, customs, and everything. So we need to be able to highlight that. Otherwise, we're just ethnically erasing people. Think about the Native Americans who didn't call themselves Native Americans, but they've adhered to their colonization. So now they call themselves Native American, right? But if you try to say all of y'all tribes is the same, Cherokee ain't no different than Choctaw. Choctaw is the same as Seminole. Yeah, go try to tell them that. Go tell a Tongan that they're the same as a Samoan person. You're the same as someone from Guam. Go tell them that and see what they say. Literally, they're the same people from the same island, but no, they delineate, and people understand it. It's just only with us that they try to act a bit confused. And Travion coming with the scholarship. Mexico had a black president, and when he abolished slavery in Mexico, the Mexicans had him killed. Yeah, I think that was that Vicente Guerrero. I gotta look up the name, but it's true. Yeah, so they always like to talk about, well, Mexicans, they helped enslave. Yeah, it was a black Afro-Mexican, and once he freed the slaves and offered sanctuary to the slaves, the white Mexicans killed him. They somehow leave that part out. And she said that in itself is a myth. There's no such thing as bad hair. We know where that comes from. Exactly. So once you say that you have bad hair, people internalize that, so they want to get more weaves. I love the kinky hair. Shout out to Lady of Rage. I rock rough and stuff with my Afro puffs. Rage, rock on with your bad self. Where's the Afro puffs? Bring them back. I love the afros, cornrows. You feel me? The poetic justice braids. Those is cool too. You know what I mean? But all of our styles, we got to lean into them, not lean back away from them. And it's okay if you want to get a little just for me perm. It's okay if you want to, get a blowout, but you don't need to go get a Dominican blowout. You can do that by yourself. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, lean in more to that natural, because it is beautiful. All right, but let's finish the video.
And she goes, "Oh, that was a long time ago." It doesn't matter. You can't just erase your history, but that's just how it is. They refuse to accept that we're black.
So they're hiding the Haitian grammar in order to, I mean, what's the goal here?
I don't understand it. That's a good question, because I don't understand it.
Can I take a wild guess?
Yes.
Maybe is it because Dominicans find it shameful to be a Haitian, to be identified as a Haitian, to be confused as a Haitian?
Oh yeah, that's a fact. They get very insulted if you say, "Oh, are you Haitian?"
Yes, and people understand that, right? Especially look at the continent of Africa. 54 countries, over 3,000 different ethnic groups, over 2,000 different dialects and speech, right? People are not calling them divided or anything like that. And that's really leading to a lot of the destruction and destabilizing of the continent, because people are too tribal. So people understand the tribal differences. Say that Igbo is the same as Yoruba, and see what happened. But they literally are the same. They're both Nigerian, so they're delineating and trying to disaggregate data based on their tribal affiliation. What we're saying is, hey, look, yeah, you might be black, but you're from Senegal. You don't have the same cultural connection to this land. You don't have the same lineage, and it doesn't mean that suddenly because we're from here, we're just automatically better, even though in most cases we are. But I'm not making that argument. I'm not saying that we're better just because we are from this soil and that we're foundational Black American freemen. All I'm saying is that we need to acknowledge our cultural differences and contributions. For instance, Japanese culture is samurai and ninjas, right? Imagine a Korean person trying to take credit for samurais and speaking about the history of samurai. You think Japanese people will be okay with that? No. So imagine someone that's immigrated from Sudan recently, well after this civil rights, well after Jim Crow, well after all of the atrocities, but then they want to talk to you about Jim Crow. They want to talk to you about debt peonage, convict leasing, eminent domain, redlining when you wasn't even here. You fled your homeland because you were failing there. You were fleeing famine, folly, failure, and most likely feudalism. That's why you had to come here. You didn't get it popping there, so you had to come to a finished product where we had already got it popping. Our ancestors fought, bled, died for this soil, and they didn't plan on going to Africa. Imagine if you imagine you built a car from the ground up, and it's like, hey, you want to drive this car? No, man, I want to go to another country and try to find me another car to build up. No, that would sound goofy as hell. I built this car. I'm gonna drive this car. I'm gonna swing this car. I'm gonna put some beat in this car because I built this car. Yeah, some other people contributed to the car, but I had a hand in building this car. I am the foundation to building this car. Why the hell would I just give that away? And that's what many people are saying. They want you always looking to this distant land in Africa that you've never been. Most FBAs never been to Africa. Most FBAs are never going to Africa. Not because they hate Africa. It's just they're not African. Having African ancestry doesn't make you African. Most European people have some sort of African ancestry. Are they African? No. So think about Jamaica, right? There were more, Jamaica was a slave colony. Why don't they call themselves African Jamaican? Not Afro, African. Why don't they call themselves African Jamaican? Why don't the Afro Latinos call themselves African Puerto Rican? Why don't the Haitians call themselves African Haitian? We're all the same, but we're supposed to call ourselves African America. Where in Africa? In Morocco or in Chad? Where? In Africa before it was called Africa. So no, we're done with this just generic, here, you're just an African. No, we're not. We're foundational Black American Negro freedmen. I'd rather you call me a Negro than you call me an African. And that's no shade to African people. I have African ancestry and African genetics. It's just I'm not African. We had an ethnogenesis. Foundational Black American specifically is an amalgamation of formerly enslaved Africans, indigenous Black people, and also European people. It's the combination of all. So that's why we have a very unique admixture and ethnic group. So look up ethnogenesis. So that's the same thing with Mexico, right? There wasn't a Mexican until it was like in the 1500s. There were just people there, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna call this place Mexico. All right, well, now they're Mexicans. So our lineage goes back further than that. So I'm just saying, when people kind of say, oh, you guys are being divisive, yeah, go to the continent of Africa and preach that to them. And he says, the nappier the happier. Yep, happily nappy. He says, but the new Mexican president has recognized Afro-Latinas in Mexico and as indigenous tribes, which means we was here long before slavery. I agree. Not everyone came on slave ships. Some did. Many of us didn't. And just if you just do the math, it's just the math ain't mathing, bro. It's just not. And he says, they not like us, damn Hamites. Fleeing tethers. Yeah. Once you are fleeing your homeland, it's like you're not in a position to finger wag, because what they say, if you can't take the heat, get the F out the kitchen. You got out of the kitchen. What we did was we stayed in the kitchen. We extinguished the fire. And then, in the words of Lil Wayne, I'm in Hell's Kitchen with an apron and a hairnet. We was in that bitch with an apron. When the kitchen got hot and it was an inferno, we was in there with a hairnet and an apron ready to cook. You couldn't take the heat and you fled, and that's fine. You know, not everybody is built like that. But stop trying to act like you built like us when you're not built like us. Set at a table that was already set. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge difference from someone that had built the table from the ground up with the plates, the silverware. Then it's one thing to build the table. It's another thing to sit at the table. It's another thing entirely to put food on the table. And he said Mexico did become a country in 1813, I think. I think it was in more or less like the 1500s. It was in the 1800s where they had the Treaty of Hidalgo, where there was the Mexican-American War. The U.S. had, put belt to ass. They were occupying them, and they basically coerced them like, hey, look, we already got y'all numbered. We whooping the hell out of y'all. Just surrendered the territory. So that's when Mexico surrendered in a bunch of territory like Texas, parts of Colorado, Utah, California, etc. And not only that, in exchange, there were a bunch of Mexicans that were legally allowed to be white. So this is the Treaty of Hidalgo. And Mr. Von Bryan says, is there a contrast between ADOS and FBA? Yes, there is a contrast. So basically, ADOS is American descendant of slaves, and FBA is foundational Black American. ADOS is purporting to be a lineage just as well as FBA. The only difference is ADOS has a leader and a advocacy group. So that's where it gets like a bit dicey, because imagine there was like an Asian group. This group is for Asians, but it's also a lineage and a group where you can donate to with FBA. And Tariq coined that term, but he's not the leader of the lineage. Foundational Black American, I like that one better because for one, it's more rock solid and more people can't tether to it. With the American descendant of slaves, because slavery took part in all of the America. When we talk about America, we're mainly talking about the United States of America, i.e. North America. But when people say America, they broaden it to Central America and South America, i.e. the Caribbean and places like that. So they'll say, hey, I'm American, in places like Puerto Rico, Jamaica. Those were slave colonies. So they try to say, hey, I'm American, and then I'm also a descendant of slave. But Jamaica is a different country. That's why they have to immigrate here. So saying American descendant of slaves, it could get a bit convoluted. Also, there's these whole things where Irish people, even though they weren't slaves, they were indentured servants, but they say, hey, we're American. And then also we descended from slaves, even though they didn't. They descended from indentured servants. It's a huge difference between indentured servitude and slavery. So I think foundational Black American is just a tighter one, because when you say foundational, people know what that term means, and then it sparks a broader discussion. So I like that one better. And then also because it is just a lineage, not necessarily a group. Now, we do need advocacy groups, but once you have the advocacy group the same title as your lineage, it does just get a bit confusing. And then also, I think there was some issues with Yvette Carnell, where I think she was, some people accused her of being like more of a Democrat shield than anything. I say, like, work with any party that's willing to put forth lineage, status-based tangibles. I don't care if it's Republican, Democrat, or Green Party, as long as they are specific in the language and the tangibles are going towards specific redress. Because see, when they targeted Negro specifically, they were very clear about that. But now when you want repair, then they want to make it into an all lives matter, people of color. And And we're not just doing that. We fell for that minority trick bag once, and we got the short end of the stick. We're not doing it anymore. Now, I don't mind if people identify as it's just like someone that still wants to be African American. That would still mean that if you're air quote African American and you're a descendant of U.S. chattel slavery, your family can be traced back to the 1870 census or beyond that, then you will be considered a foundational Black American. Whether you identify with that term or not, your lineage is your lineage. So for instance, there's many people that are descendants of U.S. chattel slavery that do identify as African American and some that don't. Their lineage, that doesn't change their lineage of being a descendant from U.S. chattel slavery just because they choose to use a different ethnonym. And then he says, yes, there is a lineage, the other is an organization. Yep, that's just exactly what I'm saying. Like my lineage is not an organization that you can just donate to. You know what I mean? My lineage is not a charity, and you can't immigrate into my lineage. You can't come from Senegal or Serbia and say, hey, I'm a foundational Black American. And I agree, it fits, it sounds better. And even Ryan Coogler, shout out to Ryan Coogler, the creator of Black Panther. He called himself FBA and said he was always looking to Africa, but he was neglecting his more immediate lineage here. And no problem, Mr. Brian. You know, I'm here to learn, but I'm also here to teach. So I appreciate you. And I know a lot of people hate the term and they think, oh, it's divisive and all this stuff, but we've always been divided. Like it's just now we're divided, but it's for a constructive purpose. It's to disaggregate the data because, you know, there have been many people who said, well, Nigerians are smarter than FBA. Okay, cool. Well, let's disaggregate the data and see where the thriving Nigerian neighborhoods are and what's the thriving Nigerian Fortune 500 companies. And then if you start comparing the average foundational Black American to the average Nigerian, you know, it's not even close. And I don't even like doing this comparisons, but these are the comparisons that society is doing and that many of these groups have done. You know, a lot of people come over here and try to say, you know, stay away from the Akata. They have all sorts of names for us, even when they call us Yankee, even though Yankee is not inherently a slur, but it could be used pejoratively, right? So they have all of these names for us, and then they keep going back to, well, you guys called us an African booty scratcher. Like when you were 5 years old? You're 35 now, and you still talking about someone called you an African booty scratcher. I'm a foundational Black American Negro freedman, and guess what I got called when I was younger? An African booty scratcher. So if that's all you can really go to, think about what's worse, someone calling you an African booty scratcher or someone decimating your entire homeland so that you had to flee. They have those people going over there, giving them Red Cross rice, and some of that stuff has poison and stuff. They have them going over there to the orphanages and just literally having their way with those kids. What is worse, that or someone calling you an African booty scratcher? We was calling anyone Black that. And not only that, that's a very mild joke, right? We was talking about people mamas. Your mama's so skinny, she can hula hoop through a Cheerio. Come on now. Someone talking about someone's mama, or you getting called an African booty scratcher. So, and these are the same people that say, obviously not all, but these are the same people that say, well, you guys complain too much and you're being too sensitive and it's just a word. So what if someone called you a nigger? Why are you being triggered by it? So what if someone called you an African booty scratcher? There's no lynchings in America where, here, let's lynch those African booty scratchers. They did say, let's lynch those niggers. So it's like, what are we really talking about here? And then mind you, okay, let's say, okay, you would have worked with FBA and built a enterprise with them if you weren't called an African booty scratcher when you were 7 years old. This shit doesn't even make any sense. So y'all got to retire that excuse and come with something a little bit better. And our family wasn't saying stay away from those Africans, stay away from those African booty scratchers. We was the only ones upholding Africa. We were the ones on the Pan-African tip. Guess where the most prominent Pan-Africans are? In America. They surely ain't in Africa. They're not in Africa. Name the prominent Pan-Africa that's in Africa. There's Ibrahim Traore, shout out to him, in Burkina Faso. But the majority of Africa ain't rocking with him. Nigeria ain't rocking with him. Senegal ain't rocking with him. So where is the Pan-Africanism in Africa? But you want me, someone who's never been to Africa, probably will never go to Africa? You want me to crash out for Africa, but meanwhile, I got to deal with crime problems here in Oakland. I got to deal with crime problems in us being pushed out of San Francisco. I got to deal with Mexicans firebombing my people in LA. But you want me to be worried about Wakanda? Shout out to Wakanda. It's up to the Wakandans to build Wakanda. If the Africans in Africa ain't trying to build Wakanda, what the hell do you think I'm going to do? You think I'm going to come over there as a Yankee? When you go over to Africa, guess what they call you? They don't call you African. They call you American, because that's what you are. There's nothing wrong with being African. It's actually a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? And everyone has some sort of African ancestry. I have European ancestry. Am I European? No. So it's like we got to stop with these goofy flat black terms. And I understand before it we didn't see it as a form of ethnic and cultural erasure, but now that's just all that it's been. For instance, our Black American freedmen icons, they won't even get a Black American to play them. They got this chick named Cynthia Erivo who was speaking down on Black Americans. Then she's already played Aretha Franklin, an FBI icon. She's played Harriet Tubman, an FBA icon. Now she's playing Shaka Khan. Come on now, bruh. You can't go to Africa and they're not going to book you to play any of their African stars, but they can come over here, and instead of finding a foundational Black American actor, because we clearly have the talent, they go out of their way to get an African person. Why? Not because we all Black, it's because they know that they're not culturally from this lineage, so they could pay them less, because Cynthia Erivo got paid way less. She was one of the stars of Wicked, and the extras got paid more than her. Now, if it was somebody like Denzel Washington, Halle Berry, one of these prominent Black American actors, they'll have to pay them an American wage. But if they get an African person from a starving village, then they can always say, hey, look, man, it wasn't popping in your homeland, and I'm giving you the biggest opportunity that no one in your village would be able to give you. So they're more subservient, they're more docile, they're more yes men, but there's just been a complete ethnic erasure, especially in Hollywood. Think about this. Think about that show Snowfall. I love the show. It was a great show. That dude, I think his name is Damson Idris. This dude is African. They had to bring in West Coast gangbangers to teach him how to be Black American. Instead of just getting a foundational Black American from the soil, they bring them in to train an African how to cosplay you and take your job. No, that's not cool. There's no way that you can convince me that that's cool. And this is nothing against him, because he is a great actor. But come on now, Idris Elba is British. He's a Black Brit, but he comes over here and he's African American. How the hell is he African American when he's British? He's a British citizen who talks like, hey, Cheerio, would you like a spot of tea? I like the accent. I don't talk like that. No one in my family talks like that. So he's a Black African from Britain. He comes over here and suddenly he's African American and has the same lineage as me? No. But it's like, well, he's Black and y'all all the same. No, we're not the same. That's why he talks differently. That's why he has a different lineage. Doesn't mean that I'm better, but we're not the same. So a leopard and a cheetah is not the same. They're both cats. Like, come on now. And then, like Von Brian said, they got Cynthia Erivo to play Jesus Christ. Like, come on, who asked for this? We didn't ask for that. And when they do put her up there, and then they're getting backlash from the white community for being wokety woke, that falls on FBA. That doesn't fall on Black Brits. So, and then they got some other dude, Coleman Domingo, some gay Caribbean dude. Hey, I don't care if he's gay and I don't care if he's Caribbean. But they got him playing Martin Luther King and all of our icons. Won't y'all have him play some Caribbean icon? Won't y'all? Oh, damn. Who is the Caribbean icon? Won't y'all have him play some Latino character? You know, have these people, if you want to have them play these fictional characters, fine. But having them playing actual, you know, real life icons is extremely disrespectful. And it's not because, oh, they want to pay homage. It's just these people don't ask no questions. They ain't gonna demand anything. They're more subservient. And when if they want to slip in some anti-black narratives or some off-code stuff, they're gonna go along with it because it's not their lineage that's being displaced or disrespected. So yeah, we're just tired of the tethering, bro. We're just tired of the waffling. If you're black, you got to stand on blackness all the time. Imagine there was a zebra, but he's only a zebra on Tuesdays and Thursdays. No, you're a zebra. Your stripes are permanent. You're always a zebra. If you take that African zebra to Europe, it's still going to be a striped zebra. You take them to somewhere in Malaysia, it's still going to be a zebra. And that's all we saying with blackness. Hey, I'm a foundational Black American. So when I go to China, I'm still a foundational Black American. If I go to Thailand, I'm still a foundational Black American. What many people are doing is they getting around us and saying, I'm saying nigga because I grew up around you. They get around another group. Hey, I'm mixed. I'm not just black. I'm not like them. I'm mixed. I'm exotic. You get around somebody else, you Hispanic or something else. Nah, man, whatever you is, stay that. So Carmelo Anthony, if you Latino, nigga, you're Latino every day. Nothing wrong with being Latino. Love Latinos. But just stop cosplaying and tethering onto my lineage. That shit is done. And he said they need to cancel her for Shaka Khan, though. I ain't feeling it. No, people are not feeling it. But see, this is the thing. They have people non-black that is not our lineage that are calling the shots. If it was just to us, nobody would be like, hey, let's book Cynthia Erivo for that. No, like, get up out of here. But yeah, did you have something to chime in, Braxton?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, usually FBAs are. It's like FBAs are the main like basis, like they're the main conversation base for any topic relating to any other group, be it Jamaican, Haitian, Black, Dominicans, somebody from Botswana, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, whatever. So yet, the one group of Black people in the world that don't have anything much, if not at all, no culture, no this, no that, no nothing else, but yet they are the main basis for others' conversations. Hell, even the main conversation basis for what we saw here on the video for even other non Black groups. And so that goes to show you that FBAs are literally the catalyst. Put it like this: FBAs are the catalyst. Yeah. They're the catalyst and the culture for other people's problems, but yet they're not, because now FBAs are not. They're not fighting no other problems, but their own for here on in for the time.
And that's what's getting people pissed, because we say HYON. What's that acronym? Hold your own nuts. Before, we have been crashing out for everybody, but now we just tired of it. Every group has to just hold their own nuts. Practice group economics. That's what we need to do. We need to focus on enriching ourselves, because us trying to have this whole minority coalition, all lives matter, people of color, posse, that doesn't do anything for us. All of these coalitions still leave us at the bottom. We're trying to get from the bottom. So if your team is in last place, right, would it make sense for you to be helping out teams that's ahead of you? You're trying to get out of last place. So imagine you were a football team in last place and you have a number 1 draft pick, and it's like, you know what, we're in last place, but here, let's help this other team and give them our draft pick. Would that make any sense? That's what a lot of us is doing. Here, we're in last place, but here, let's give our Majara spirit, let's give our acumen, let's give our intellectual property, let's give our culture and swag to other groups and get nothing in return but a pat on the back. Really, they just give you their ass to kiss and say, well, you guys don't even have a culture. while they steal your culture. They tell you don't have a culture. They steal it, remix it, and turn it into something else and say what you don't have. And then, mind you, let's just say that we don't have a culture. For someone that doesn't have a culture, why is people always talking about us? Think about it. It's like we're supposed to be these low IQ, savage, thuggish miscreants, right? Why would we be a conversation daily? Like, shouldn't you be talking about how benevolent these other groups are? Shouldn't you be talking about the model minorities and how superior their culture is and how great they are? But instead you're talking about, well, this community is dysfunctional. Okay, cool. Let that community be dysfunctional and just, be destroy itself. Instead, you just keep talking about this community is dysfunctional. Won't you talk about the functional communities? You know what I mean? It's they talk about people. Oh, you guys are complaining, but that's all they do is complain. The black community is this. The black community is that. Why are you complaining about the community? If you present a problem without also present a solution, that is whining. So anybody talking about black on black crime, well, they need to hold blacks accountable. You making a podcast about somebody that got killed in a random drive-by is not holding black people accountable. Also, I'm in California. What the fuck do I have to do with some random goofy nigga doing a drive-by in Chicago? How the hell is you holding me accountable for some nigga that I don't even know?
Right.
What'd you say, bro?
Yeah, yeah, because that place Chicago is just one place. Yeah, because like Chicago, I don't know, like a Chicago, Philly, Detroit, hell, Orleans or Compton. Those are individual places in just one place. Okay, whether if it's one place or two, one or two places is not the reason for for all of the violence in America. So so that's just false, obviously.
Yes, but due to many people's anti-blackness, they believe anything, any false narrative that paints us as the boogeyman and the bad guys. Many people get on board with it, and too many of us get on board with it. When look at the stats, the black community, the entire population, right? So they'll say 1350, right? When they say that, they're assuming that 100% of the 13% of the population is committing crime, and that's just mathematically impossible. It's 1% of the entire population that's committing the crime. So that would mean that the 99% is not committing all of those violent crimes. But instead of focusing on the 99% that's not committing those crimes, they want to focus on the 1% that is. Even think of it like this. I think they say that I think black people account for either 27 to 33% of all of the prisoners, right? And that's a disproportionate amount. But that would mean that over 70 to 80%, depending on which numbers you look at, of us are not incarcerated and not doing jail. So instead of focusing on that 80 to 75%, you want to focus on the 25%. So I say, okay, same energy, same logic. Then that means that I need to focus on the disproportionate amount of white people that are getting locked up for bestiality crimes where they are like doing these sexually explicit acts with animals. I have to look up all of these white people that are getting arrested for these PDF crimes. You see what I'm saying? That's their culture. So it's like we can't play these games.
And also check fraud, insurance fraud, and what else?
Check fraud, insurance fraud, real estate fraud, insider trading.
Yep.
Yeah, so like I said, crime has no color. But yeah, it looks like
I'm glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. And again, and for whoever who's doing the math on all those stats, they must be low IQ because their math is off on that one. So ain't that funny and ironic?
No, I concur. And you know what? This has been a great stream. I'm gonna get ready to wind it down. I'm probably gonna do another stream tomorrow, but I gotta give a huge shout out to all the people that popped up in the chat. It was some people that don't even rock with me like that slid through. So I was surprised. But I definitely gotta give a shout out to Travion, that was unexpected, bro. But actually, I'm gonna drop my Instagram in the chat. So anybody that needs to reach me, hit me on Instagram, and then Travion, I'll slide you my number there. I dropped the link. I thought you was gonna come, but I gotta give a special shout out to the lovely, exquisite, and ravishing Miss Jackie Gaines. Sean Sinatra, one of the illest, one of the coldest, the dopest, and the realest. Travion, this dude is a really good guy, man. Peach Cobbler, I got a sweet tooth right now, so Peach Cobbler might be on the menu. We got none other than Big Rig Slaps slid through. Braxton, obviously, on the panel with me, slid through. OG Jamel slid through. Who else we got? I think that was it. And maybe some people was, shout out to Ozzy. Ozzy, go check him out. Ozzy been cooking. Fire, the lovely Fire, Phoenix Fire. And Von Bryant. Yeah, I mean, this was dope, man. So like I said, we're gonna keep coming to y'all, giving y'all more perspective. Actually, here, I'm gonna just do this right now because I'm gonna just drop the number right there. And that's for Travion, you feel me? Hit me with the text, but nah, that's all good, Ozzy. You feel me? I like what you got to say, and Ozzy definitely does support. Like he truly does support, and I can really respect that because you can be anywhere, but you chose to be here, and this was awesome. And you helped make it awesome, Jackie. So I do thank you for coming by. And if anybody wants to get in touch with me, you know what I mean, I kind of dox myself. Just send me a chat, you feel me? Or right now, screenshot the number, and then I'm gonna just go ahead and delete it. So Travion, if you see that number, go ahead and screenshot that, and I'm gonna go ahead and delete that. But yeah, this was a dope show. And also, are y'all gonna watch the fight? Let me give a question to the chat before I get up out of here. The fight is this weekend. Terrence Bud Crawford versus Canelo Saul Alvarez. Who y'all going for? We always got to bet on black. And it's funny though, because people be talking about America first, but then if they're Latino, they're going for the Mexican from Mexico. I was like, I thought y'all was banging for America. But you see how it goes. But yeah, I got Terrence Bud Crawford for the upset. Canelo is the favorite. They're saying that Bud is going to be too small because Canelo is used to fighting bigger dudes and he'd rock those dudes. But I got to go with Canelo Bud Crawford. He's undefeated. Now, it's not going to be an easy task. I think Canelo is the favorite, should be the favorite, and Canelo could win. He could win in convincing fashion. I just don't think that that's how it's going to go down. FBA Crawford is going to come through and represent for Omaha, Nebraska. And where's the hood table? Because the hood table, I know you got to be riding for Crawford. I seen the whole city come out for Crawford. Whites, blacks, Hispanics, everybody. So they is definitely behind them. I'm going for Bud Crawford. I hope he knocked Canelo out. I doubt that would happen because Canelo has a big head and a really rock solid chin, and the dude is just a legend in the game. But I do think that Bud Crawford is a different animal, so I'm going for Bud. And Ozzy says he's going to try to hit the stage next time for sure. Hopefully you do. And you know what? I am truly appreciative of everybody that came through. I got my Cash App there, so if you want to make a contribution to the boy, you like what I'm saying, and you want to support solid creators, forget the Starbucks. Hey, send some of them bucks my way. Forget McDonald's. You shouldn't even be eating that anyways. You don't need that Big Mac. Send that big stack to a Big Mac, i.e. B-Eazy. And the Cash App, $Easy Stack. So I'm about to get up out of here because I'm going to give y'all some more sauce, some more gang bravado tomorrow. And I'm going to keep these streams coming. They're very random. They're very impromptu, but I will get a schedule. because I am starting to have my supporters reach out to me and they want to hear more from me. And I want to hear more from y'all from the chat. You know, I'm here to teach, but I'm also here to learn. I'm a sponge, you feel me? So I'm always trying to soak game, but I'm also disseminating that information as well. So I do genuinely appreciate y'all. I do genuinely love y'all. So make sure that y'all hit the like button, the subscribe button, but also hit that notification bell. So when I do an impromptu stream like this, you will be notified. So I'm gonna hit one visual and then we are out of here. But I do love y'all. I do appreciate y'all. Y'all know who this is, what this is. B-Eazy, that dude, discussions with that dude, and we're gonna keep them coming. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hey. B-Eazy, that dude, shit so hot it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. I bring the pain like an aftermath of a car wreck. It's a lot of niggas that say they real. To me, that shit is far-fetched. Most them cats is pussy. They really is on some feminine stuff. I rock up on them with the 40 ounces. It's the definition of adrenaline rush. What it do is sweet like cinnamon puffer. My niggas is rough like Willow Pass. Grew up out on Mary Mac, but I used to hang on Willow Pass. These birds that I roll with, outcasts and misfits. Better zip lips so you get hit when the fifth spit. Flat line in your pit. Trap habits is black magic, no voodoo. Get the bands like Goku for the cocaine to go cuckoo. Most these niggas is foo-foo, so I'm shitting on them like doo-doo. I can't fuck with y'all like tofu. I'm just saying, man, like Goku. Bad bitches at the house with me watching Netflix or Roku. Fuck them both at the same time, and I swear to God it was so cool. Street legend, real boss, I call shots cause I'm still saucy. I know some G's to the bike crack on Chirac and then fly back out to Milwaukee. When they hear me flow, they say I be burning up, burning up. Cookie to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up. When you hear me flow, say I be burning up, burning up. Cookie to the draw is what we burning up, burning up. What you ain't know, oh, we burning up, burning up. This shit so hot, it's burning up. Just go ahead and turn this up.
Follow B-Eazy. You know you